Welcome back,
Yeah,
ladies
I
and
had to do
gentlemen,
it
to The
myself
View
because
from
everybody's
Here.
building. By the way, I'm in
Sorry?
Beverly Hills right now, just so you know.
Right.
I'm in
I'm not.
Beverly Hills right now, where I'm from, because we lost houses in the Palisades fire, but I have
Yeah.
not been here since March. I'm based in Washington, D.C. since January 2021. I'm in the White House press corps.
Right, I forgot.
Independent journalist,
Yeah. Well,
not citizen. I'm independent. Yeah. Corrine
Corrine
Clifford.
Clifford has just introduced herself. We're already recording, by the way.
That's convenient.
Okay.
So Corinne, when she came on, she was very excited. She has a lot of great stuff to tell us about. Not great as in good, but great as is big news.
Mm-hmm. Well, we
So
are all
you
ears.
You want to?
What's,
The
what,
most
what
banned
do
and
you,
censored news for you in the United States of America at this time in history. And you got me in a very feisty mood because usually I just do 3 to 5, sometimes 10-minute news bites for Fox and or for Newsmax, News Nation. But now I am in a feisty mood, so prepare.
All
okay,
right.
we're eager to hear what you've got to say.
Right now. It's your show.
First I want to know what you First, I want to know, what do you care about? Why do you do your show? What do you care about the most?
Well, we care about the direction the country's been sliding the last few years, and I think anyway, that President Trump has been sent by God or whatever power people believe in to save this country from going over the brink. I honestly believe that. I believe it was divine intervention that caused him to turn his head at that moment that he did at Butler. Not only that, he usually had that chart to his left. If he had turned that way, he would have gotten it in the back of the head. But this time he had it to the right for some reason, and he turned that way and it hit his ear. The other thing there at Butler was CNN had never, ever covered any of his rallies. That day they were there because they wanted all of America to see President Trump get killed. So I'm convinced that it wasn't a one-on thing.
CNN, I deal with them. But what is CNN, Roy? I deal with them every day at the White House. And every time I get close to Trump, one of their cameramen tries to push me or shove me or hit me in the head with the camera. What is CNN?
Oh, Communist Network News.
I think they're deep state.
They are CIA, probably. Well, most of the network, I think all the networks are controlled. Sorry?
So one of my godfathers was Ted Turner. He was not trying to be CIA in the beginning, but he's very liberal, and I actually have a lot of anger against him because he told me, he wrote a book, Only Have One Child. Well, that was the biggest lie on earth because now we have zero population growth in the United States because women like me only had one child. I can have more, but I'm just saying that CNN didn't start as a CIA intelligence agency, but when you get famous, the CIA blackmails you and or they buy you out and destroy your life.
Yeah, he did leave CNN. I mean, TBS and CNN. He founded it. At first, it was pretty good during the hostage crisis, but it's become corrupted. Also, you got to remember General Sarnoff, who was the head of NBC decades ago, back in the 30s, I think. He had some involvement with the military and the CIA way back when, before the CIA even existed. He was involved in I don't know what intelligence agency was in place before the CIA, but Sarnoff, after the 50s, I'm sure Sarnoff was compromised, and NBC. That's why NBC is probably the worst of all these stations until CN. What was it? What's the one that MSNBC came on, which is the combination of NBC and Bill Gates, one of the most evil men on the planet today. Okay, and
President Trump can sit at a table with States, and he can sit at a table with Robert Kennedy Jr., and that's why he is called by God to be our leader. And he has his own money, so he can handle the lawfare. He's been in hundreds of millions of dollars of litigation. I know his lawyers, and that's why he is called by God. And I don't think President Trump knows what's really going on many times. He just listens to all of his advisors. And that's why independent journalists like me, I'm one of the few in the White House. I don't think there's very many independent journalists at the White House, but Nick Shirley, I met him in the White House just this year with his mother. People have to realize that Nick Shirley, who just exposed the Somalians, works with his mother. So he has financing. He had to spend 10 grand on security. All those stories are so important, but keep going. I want to hear what you're saying.
Yeah, no, he's so you and Shirley are both in the White House press corps. You are. So how many independents do you think there are besides the two of you?
So I don't think Nick Shirley has a hard pass. They come and go and they can visit whenever they want. I am probably the only independent journalist, truly independent. I have the hard pass, and Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, helped me get it. And I did so much work. I moved to Washington, D.C. in January 2021, and I did so much work. I am like the original OG of confronting judges and corrupt congressmen and senators, but my footage just disappears, and or I go viral and then I get banned and censored. So I'm really one of the most banned and censored women in America, which is shocking because I'm a daughter of the American Revolution. My family left England to found Pennsylvania. So I'm a mom. Why am I getting banned and censored? What am I doing that's so banned and censored and shadow banned? So that's why I like to do other
We've been
people's
shadow
news
banned.
shows, because my stuff just disappears. Yeah, you
This
do.
is often a sign of a psyop or some sort of skullduggery. So the thing is that what the most dangerous thing for the corrupt is the truth, because it exposes the corrupt. So because of that, you're going to be assaulted. You're going to be lied about, and you've chosen the hero's path, the path of the person who chooses to have honor over comfort, which is something that oh my God, our interview
founding
with that,
fathers wanted.
yeah, there was an excellent retired captain from the Air Rangers.
I can't remember his name now either.
Yeah, I know, it's a shame.
So many guests on the last few
Yeah.
months. Barry Todd.
Barry Todd.
Barry Todd.
The book. He wrote the book Stand Your Ground, and he went through hell because he literally defended his wife and himself against armed thugs. So
and he had wounds from the encounter too.
He had a concussion, a broken arm, and broken ribs. So, but that wasn't enough. That he escalated things by going ahead and bringing out a firearm. So it's just fantastic. So the way I see it is, you're on the hero's path. You have every right to be unhappy about the injustice and the wrong behavior directed towards you. But in truth, that means you're on the right path, because only those attacks prove your path is actually
you're on the right path. Yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't be bombing you.
Yep.
I'm probably one of the most attacked women in the White House, and people don't realize it. So Antifa groups are trying to get me fired and banned from the White House. Not really fired because I don't get paid, but they're trying to get me banned from having press passes. So they write these letters, like they write thousands of letters to the press secretary, and they make all these crazy complaints. And they say I'm unethical because when I do a news hit, I say, this was sponsored by sat123.com. I want want you to have a satellite phone. I want you to have a bulletproof backpack. I want you to have the Starlink. I want you to have the best customer service that you can have. So go to SAT123.com and buy as much as you can afford to buy. Everything I have a bulletproof computer case. I use it every day to and from the White House. So all the Antifa media writes complaints about me to the press office and says Corrine Clifford should not be credentialed. And so it becomes a mess. And I can't really defend myself except to say that I'm doing the best I can to survive it. And we need President Trump to stay in power as long as possible, because this time last year, I had over 2,500 people arrested by the Biden regime. No one has been arrested under Trump. No American patriots have been arrested under Trump. Now, we still have a couple pardons that need to happen. 12 J6ers received a commutation. They haven't been pardoned because President Trump is not getting the proper information. Okay, because the lobbyists control Washington, D.C. So if you don't have the money to pay the lobbyists, you can't really get much done. And so I get banned and censored and shadow banned, and people think I'm dumb and stupid and inconsequential. But I'm setting the tone, and a lot of the work that I do is behind the scenes, talking to the lobbyists, talking to people in Congress, talking to other news media, because they have to know that I'm one phone call to James O'Keefe. I'm one phone call to Nick Shirley. I'm one phone call to Cam Higby. I'm one phone call to Kara Castronova, the best journalist at the White House right now. And if I have a real news story, we will get 100 million views. We'll get more than CNN ever gets. So they need to be really on high alert, because their days are numbered. They're fake news.
Corrine.
Oh no, their viewership has gone down drastically. And what you said about them pushing you around so that you can't get to ask your questions, it seems to company culture over there at CNN, because remember Jim Acosta kept asking the question, and the girl tried to take the microphone from him. He kept pushing her arms away. He was rude. You don't do that. You know, I mean, he should have been banned from the White House forever.
Here's the thing, Corrine.
Yeah.
Okay. Your declarations about the injustice that's going on, and you trying to do your job, just trying to be an honest reporter.
No, I'm not trying to do my job. I am trying to set the news narrative to give us the real news. I'm trying to save America. I'm trying to make sure we don't go into a civil war.
Right. So here's the thing. I understand you have some breaking news, which would definitely propel this podcast, and therefore send your message out to more people.
Yeah, I posted on.
So the breaking news today.
Go ahead. We got a time lapse between
today,
California
which I've
and here.
spent my whole. So the breaking news today, which I've spent my whole morning on, because I'm currently in Beverly Hills, California. I grew up in Pacific Palisades, California. On January 7th, my high school burned. 3 of our family houses burned. 1 burned in Malibu. So I haven't been home since March. We had to move to Beverly Hills. I haven't even been home to see my own daughter. I'm not allowed to talk about her because she does not want to associate with Trump supporters, because she works in Hollywood and she can't keep a job if they know that her mom is a Trump supporter. So the bottom line is that the breaking news today is the fact that the deep state that still controls the DOJ is trying to start George Floyd part 2 this summer. So basically there's a 30-year-old man. He's approximately 30. He lives in his mother's basement. His name is Brian Cole Jr. His father is Brian Cole Sr. He has been accused of being the pipe bomber from January 5th, 2021. And today he had his second court date. I had some very powerful people in that courtroom. I can't say all their names because I don't want to expose the journalists that I work with, because then we'll be targets. Some work for mainstream media, some don't. I can say a couple of them, but they were there to confront the prosecutors. One of the prosecutors is a very, very dangerous woman, and I'm going to say her name because she is one of the people that needs to be fired. She's a layover from the General Flynn days when General Flynn was being persecuted and prosecuted. And so I had a very powerful independent journalist in the courtroom who confronted her. I'm going to tell you, just let me tell you really fast. So she's the person who got General Flynn persecuted and prosecuted. She's the person who got Enrique Tarrio persecuted and prosecuted. And she is very dangerous. I'm going to say her name. I'm risking me getting sued. Her name is Jocelyn Ballantyne. Jocelyn Ballantyne is an assistant U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C. She is behind the prosecution of General Flynn, of Enrique Tarrio, of so many J6ers, pro-life activists. She has never been fired because the DOJ has not cleaned house like they're supposed to. So we gave President Trump 1 year. It's not President Trump's fault. He didn't do anything, but they have accused a black man who is in his 30s, who lives in his mom's basement in Virginia. They've accused him of being the pipe bomber, the January 5th pipe bomber, and he wears thick glasses. He is autistic on the spectrum. If he did it on January 5th, his car was in the area. They say he had purchased bomb-making material from 2019. We don't even have the real evidence. The bottom line is that if he did anything, he did not act alone. And the DOJ under Jocelyn Ballantyne is not going deeper and deeper to see what really happened, because this young man is not even manipulative enough to be able to plan this for January 5th, because January 6th is when all the drama happened. So someone set him up and or he didn't do it. Now, listen, he's got the best lawyers. His father, Brian Cole Sr., is a bail bondsman for 20 years. He wasn't in the courtroom today, and he won't talk to me, but I interviewed Brian Cole Jr.'s mother at her home in Virginia 2 weeks ago. She opened the door to me, and I told her very clearly that I have interviewed so many people who've been accused falsely by the U.S. federal government, and I'm going to give her son the benefit of the doubt because he wears thick glasses. I have to interview, and I have a whole team doing this, and I'm not going to say their names. I'm going to give you one person, Joseph Phillips. I love this guy. Everyone needs to follow Joseph Philip Daniel. He's banned on X. So I'm trying to get Elon Musk to help unban him on X. So I have to post his footage for him because he's currently banned on X. He goes up to Jocelyn Ballantyne and says, "Do you work for the deep state?" Outside the courtroom today, he confronted her and he said, "You need to give your life to Jesus, because if you are on the wrong side of history, you're going to hell." And she listened to him. But the bottom line is this Jocelyn Ballantyne, what if she does? Let's just give this scenario. What if she does work for the deep state, like I believe, and she is allowing a black man to be falsely accused? President Trump doesn't know what's going on. President Trump knows Jocelyn Ballantyne is a bad seed because my girlfriend Carolyn Castanova, alerted him in the Oval Office about it. But the bottom line is that he doesn't have the time and energy to oversee all this. If President Trump gets accused of being part of this, he has nothing to do with this. If anything happens and this beautiful young black man, Brian Cole Jr., is falsely accused, that could start George Floyd Part 2, Part 3 this summer, a summer of love, because they're going to try to impeach President Trump. They've already tried to impeach Secretary Hedgeseth. They're trying to impeach everyone around Trump. They're trying to impeach RFK Jr. These crazy Congress people from Michigan who owe money on their campaigns, they get paid to introduce impeachment legislation in the House. And that's the real important point. I've been in DC since January 2021. People are bought, sold, and paid for, and or they are blackmailed. And I've been blackmailed 3 times. I've been set up 3 times. So I don't go to bathrooms. I only go to 5 places in Washington, D.C. when I want to relax, because we could get blackmailed. We could get falsely accused. I have so many instances where I have been blackmailed, falsely accused. It's all on the dark web. I don't even know how to get it off. But the bottom line is that this is a really serious war zone, because Marjorie Taylor Greene, even though I don't really like her very much, she did expose the fact that these people are paid. Congress and, the House and Senate are paid to do what they do, and it's really, really dangerous. So we need a reset under President Trump, and we need Kash Patel. And I do still like Kash Patel. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, even though Dan Bongino just quit. I'm giving
Yeah, that
Kash
was a
Patel the
shock.
benefit of the doubt to yeah, I'm giving Kash Patel because he's one phone call. I'm one phone call to him. I'm not really allowed to call him. I have press passes. I'm not allowed to lobby. I'm not allowed to call him. But what I'm saying is that when I have very deep stories, I'm one phone call, and I do still trust Kash Patel. I can't get the financial records for Elon Omar. She went in a minus $90,000 in debt when she went to Congress. Now she has $30 million. She married her own brother. And now she says she's married to a super rich guy. Well, the FBI needs to do what they're supposed to do and expose these people so that we can all be there to take them down, because it's us versus them now. If we don't do it in the next 2 years under President Trump, if something happens to President Trump, we don't have anyone to stand up for us. So we're
Yeah.
in a very serious, complex situation.
It's very funny. This afternoon, I was watching a short video about what was the sleeping prophet, Edgar Casey, and he apparently predicted the leader in 2026 was going to they were going to go after him because he's the last chance to bring our country back, like I was saying at the beginning of the program. Maybe that's what inspired me to say the words I said. And it looks like Trump has been. They were saying he predicted that Trump would be doing the correct things at first, but then he would be influenced and give up or kind of give in to the opposition, because there's so much opposition, and they're lying to him, as you said. They've got his ears. He has good people that he put around him. He learned from the first time that not to trust all these deep state infiltrators like Bill Barr, for example. Okay, but he still has too many people who are not to be relied upon. I have questions about Pam Bondi. I don't know if she is deep state. I don't know if she's compromised, if she's being blackmailed, whatever. I don't
Patel
know.
has spoken.
She's not doing what she should. What?
Kash Patel has spoken up for her. He has defended her.
Why did Dan Bongino leave?
So
I have no idea.
because he got a really big offer from a major news network to make a lot of money, but that's really not why he left. I think he couldn't handle the heat. I don't like quitters. I don't like people who quit, but I respect Dan. What am I supposed to say? Is he American? Is he Canadian? I think it was too much for him to handle, and they didn't fire the people they were supposed to fire in the FBI. They haven't fired the people they're supposed to fire in the DOJ. They need to fire Jocelyn Valentine ASAP, or she could ignite. Maybe she's CIA. There's a lot of CIA, and they cannot tell you they're CIA, and they're everywhere. I can tell if someone's CIA. They act very distant. They do not behave properly, and they act very fake. Like, I'm giving you the real deal right now. I am coming to you raw and real. The CIA people are very fake. We don't know if they blackmailed her. We don't know if they blackmailed her family. We don't know the truth, but I know that Dan will do the right thing and put pressure on Kash Patel to do the right thing. But there is going to be major pressure in 2026 because we've got the midterms. We've got the governor's race in Minnesota. Mike Lindell's running for governor. We've got the governor's race in California. My friend of 20 years, Elaine Kolodny, is running for governor. And so we've got some major stuff happening. We've got to go to paper ballots, hand count the vote, at least 72 hours only of voting, no mail-in ballots anymore, only for U.S. military mail-in ballots. And then they cut off the deadline to count the vote. So we've got major work to do in our county, in our state. And I'm telling you, this is what your generation understands this. But the generation, my daughter, who's 22 years old, she doesn't understand how serious this is. And where Trump is making a mistake is that he is going to digital ID. and a complete police state where everything you do is filmed and they can edit it with AI. We don't know what's real or fake anymore. Even
Yeah.
in the pipe bomber case, when they show us videos, how am I supposed to know if it's been edited? The J6 footage was edited. We had people working 24/7 on that. The J6 footage that was used against J6ers was edited. But let me just tell you something. All the J6ers, because I spent 3 years in US federal court covering January 6th because it was so intense every day. The J6ers that me, little old me, who's inconsequential, the people that I gave the most publicity to, like Luke Coffey from Texas, he spent 0 days in jail. So when you get a lawyer and they tell you don't get publicity, he's lying to you. And this is what I'm trying to explain to the pipe bomber's mother. She needs to give us the medical records of her son. He wears these thick glasses. I want to see if you could put contact lenses in so that he could potentially be the pipe bomber. It was freezing in DC January 5th, 2021. Did he wear contact lenses to be the pipe bomber? There's no way he's walking around with these thick glasses
It
outside.
didn't look
Okay,
like
so
him.
there's something
I've
wrong with
seen
the
him.
equation.
No, it didn't look like him. The build was a little different.
I
This
mean,
guy
he was
that planted the bomb was
experimenting.
stockier. Sorry?
What? He was experimenting with bomb making material. He loves his dog. He doesn't like the Republicans or the Democrats. He is not political, but he's mentally ill. And, he'd walk his dog to 7-Eleven every day. Like, he didn't have a sex life, but he probably got radicalized online, just like Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin. So that's where we really need the FBI. And that's where we really need Kash Patel to get with the program, because we, the people, deserve to know the truth. I can only go so far. I can't get the bank records. I can't get the online records. That's what the FBI is supposed to do. That's what the DOJ is supposed to do. The FBI can't do it unless the DOJ orders it. So yes, I do respect Pam Bondi. She's blonde. She's had a long relationship with President Trump, but she is not aggressive, as American patriots need her to be. And she didn't do anything with the whole Epstein situation, which was a train wreck. When they released the original fake Epstein files, they gave them to influencers, which really made President Trump look bad. It was good for me because Trump is the reason that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested. But I'm saying Pam has made mistakes, and I don't think she's the right person to lead the DOJ. But just saying that, I'll never get my press pass to the DOJ. But I'm just saying that because I'm in a feisty mood today. I like Pam Bondi. I would be her best friend. I respect her as a person, but she's not being aggressive enough. And people are blaming it on Todd Blanche. I'm not going to blame Todd Blanche. I'm going to blame who's in charge of Pam Bondi and who did she sell out to and how does she have so much money? She was a lobbyist. What did she do? Who did she sell out to? What blackmail do they have on her? If they have 3 pieces of blackmail on me right now, and I'm pretty innocent person, I've never really done that much to anybody. I'm a Christian. When I get in trouble, I basically just say, take whatever you want from me, so I don't really have much in my history. I was arrested for confronting one of the men who created the COVID-19 vaccine, Dr. Ralph Barrick, in April 2021 in Chapel, North Carolina at the university there. But the bottom line is that there's 3 pieces of blackmail against me. Imagine what they have on Pam Bondi. Imagine what they have on everybody else.
Well, you're painting a very dark picture, and I want to put some light on. Okay. Roy will tell you I have a tendency of being an optimist. And the thing is that what I've seen is an awakening within the common man. That's why Trump won in the manner that he did. It's because, not just because he got votes, but because people believe in what he's saying, and they've been awakened, not woke, awakened. And I see a lot of that in Pennsylvania. I see a lot of that in New Jersey. I wear my Trump hat in those states. And the thing is, complete strangers come up to me complimenting me on my hat. And it's a regular thing. So I believe what's more important than one man is that the MAGA idea the idea that there is an America that is worth saving because its Constitution is worthy of saving.
Yeah.
So I think the average
Um,
American.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. We're here for the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
So
our
the thing,
purpose.
and for me, the Constitution is the body of America, and the Declaration of Independence is the spirit. So
It's a unique document.
I do believe that America is being transformed one individual at a time. Charlie Kirk was doing it, okay? And the thing is, his death, his martyrdom, has caused a number of pseudo Charlie Kirks to pop out of nowhere. And and then we have a new generation that has seen wrong living, wrong pursuit of certain things, has come to the conclusion that egotism does not trump being part of the spiritual universe. So you're absolutely correct in everything that you said in regards to these dangers. But I do believe that the American people have snapped out of their hallucinations, and now they're ready to rock and roll.
Well, the COVID
It only
pandemic.
takes what, 30% of the population to save the population? What was it in 1776? What was the percentage?
3%.
3%.
Okay, so
30% were for independence, 30 were for staying with Britain, and 30 didn't care. But only 3% actively
Yes.
fought.
But here's the other thing. And 10% of more people actually did something to help the 3%.
Yeah.
So a total of 13%, which is, if you notice, the 12 apostles and Jesus.
Well, we have that. So we do have a future, but I'm saying people have to be freedom fighters, and they have to understand that we are here to preserve, to stand up for the US Constitution in its pure state, its pure state. And I love Charlie Kirk and I love Erica. Erica is the most beautiful woman I've ever met in person. But what I'm telling you is that there are bad people on his team. And I did get censored when I tried to do Charlie Kirk shows. I was getting censored, and it is an issue. And I do have certain problems with certain people in Charlie Kirk's team, which I'm not going to say in public because, of course, I don't want you to get sued. I don't want to get sued. But there still are bad seeds in Charlie Kirk's team. And I was getting censored on the topic of activist judges. So what's happened with the judges in the United States of America, 100%, because Tom Girardi was one of my best friends before he just was thrown in prison for 87 months because he didn't marry me. He married a housewife of Beverly Hills, and he gave her everything, and she testified against him and destroyed his life. So that's his fault. But God bless him, he showed me when I hung out with him, he showed me how you influence the judges. So I've known for over 25 years that you can influence the judges, and we need to start setting the judges up. We need to start impeaching the judges. Senate has to have the hearings. The House of Representatives, Brandon Gill, who's married to Dinesh D'Souza's daughter, he needs to introduce the legislation to impeach Judge Boasberg and Watkins and all the judges that me and Ashley Babbitt's mother and Nicole Ruffett, Guy Ruffett's wife, he's the first J6er who was prosecuted in U.S. federal court in March of 2022. We have the notebooks. We have the proof of what these judges said. These judges said, if you like Donald Trump, you belong in prison. They should not be allowed to be judges anymore. That is bias. Yeah. And that's the problem, is that no one has disciplined the judges in the United States for hundreds of years. We got a clean house with the judges. We got a clean house with Congress. We got a clean house in the executive branch. We got to start firing people. And President Trump gets sued every time he tries to do something.
Well, we have to stop treating these positions as businesses and more as a sacred duty. You know, I mean, like the Supreme Court. That is a sacred duty. Your job is to put 100% of your integrity into the readings, and in the process come up with an interpretation that has been divined by meditation and understanding, and therefore not biased. The Constitution has to be treated like a living thing, and it has to speak. And the thing is that, which unfortunately I don't know the language, but that's the way it goes. But I'm not very good when it comes to the Constitution. A few pieces I know.
Constitution
Okay, so the
is-
First Amendment. I don't think you should be able to vote unless you can recite the First Amendment. That's how deep it is. You have to be able to free speech, free religion, free press, and your right to peacefully redress your government 24/7 peacefully. If you can't recite that, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Yeah. No, there's no civics anymore. They're not taught civics. They are taught that there are 72 genders, or that the white people are the worst thing that happened on Earth. Meanwhile, it was white people who ended slavery. Nobody else did. The Arabs still have slavery, or the Muslims, I should say. I don't know about all Arabs, but the Muslim world still has slaves.
Pedophiles. They
Old
sleep.
wives.
Oh,
They sleep with 11-year-old girls and then they kill them.
yes.
A lot of these jihadi Muslims sleep with 11-year-old girls and then kill them and pay their families off.
They're scum.
That
They're
is,
scum.
no, actually, scum has a purpose. It breaks down
This is true.
bacteria. But the thing is that, again, government officials, like congressmen and senators, they're there in what I would consider a sacred spot. They're there to put their best out there and not be biased, but just do what's right. And if
not
they
be there forever. They
yeah,
should,
and I
so
know
many
that they
terms
have to have
go
their own
home.
thing.
They
Right.
should go home and live under the laws that they helped pass.
And you know what? If you shut down government, you shouldn't get paid if you're a congressman or a
No, you
senator.
shouldn't. Shouldn't.
As a matter of fact, yeah.
If
So
they'd taken the money that the Congress was getting and given it to the SNAP people, would have given the SNAP another month. Okay.
well, here's the thing. Here's the good news, Corinne. Biden is not presently president. That
Never
you should
was.
wake up every morning and jump up and go, "Hallelujah! Biden's not president. Another day I can walk in the sunshine." Because I mean, that was a nightmare for anybody who has a traditional view of life. That was a freaking nightmare. And man, he puts
Biden 3 times. I met Biden 3 times, and I could tell you about the last time I met Biden, but the bottom line is that if
Did he sniff your hair?
Harris had won presidency, I'd be in jail right now. I'd be arrested because in U.S. federal court, it was me, Ashley Babbitt's mom, Nicole Ruffett, as I told you. We took meticulous notes. Another woman named Tammy Jackson was there. No one else was really there the whole time. The notes we have taken and the evidence we have could take down the whole federal government. So the bottom line is that President Trump's DOJ needs to get to the root of it, and they need to have hearings where they actually ask me to testify and tell them. And I told this to Brandon Gill, congressman from Texas. I said it's time to get Ashley Babbitt's mom to say her notes, and Nicole Ruffett took the best notes. My notes were thrown out the window at 2:35 in the morning. I got a home invasion by some type of Fed agency. I called 911. It was 2022. I had just started taking meticulous notes, okay? And I lived right next to the FBI building because some wacko, who I think is a deep state actor, had me rent his place for $2,500 a month in cash. Basically, I was living next to the FBI. I was going to court every day, taking meticulous notes on what the judges said when they sentenced people, when they talked about President Trump. Judge Jesse Watkins is like the worst of the worst. You know, they were targeting President Trump. They were trying to put pressure on the J6ers to turn against President Trump. The J6ers didn't turn on President Trump, so President Trump didn't go to prison. That's why the J6ers are heroes, because they went to prison instead of turning on President Trump. But at 2:35 in the morning, my whole door was broken down. I lived a couple apartments away from Peter Navarro. He didn't take notice. Nobody took notice. I called 911. I put my mattress against my door in my bedroom. And I, film what I could film. I've identified the three men. I've identified two of the three men. I'm never saying their names. It's so corrupt and so evil. But basically, I called 911. The Washington, D.C. Metro Police never helped me. They won't do anything. They told me the men who were in my apartment had a higher security clearance than they did, and they couldn't help me. And I couldn't file a police report, but they didn't arrest me. They just threw all my notebooks, everything I had in my living room, my bathroom, my hallway, all my jackets. They threw it out the window. And they took everything from me. I didn't even have underwear, but I had my cell phone. And, I called my family, asked for $1 million for lawyers. They said no. Everybody thought I was crazy. But the bottom line is that I had a home invasion that I very rarely talk about because it's so corrupt in DC. So imagine how much I've been pushed around. Imagine how many times I've been detained. I was getting detained in U.S. federal court, especially by Judge Mehta. He would falsely accuse and say to the U.S. Marshals, this blonde girl is tape recording me and you need to detain her. So I'd be physically removed from U.S. federal court during court cases, and I'd be put in a white room with federal marshals. I began to know all their names. I began to be friends with them, and they go through all my phones because I use phones to film everything I film. You can't film in federal court, which is a violation of the First Amendment. Why won't any lawyer sue for that topic alone? But the bottom line is that so much has happened that potentially I need to write a book about it, which I am, because I do in real life and real time journalism where I don't edit. It's going to get really dangerous with AI now because we're not going to know what's real or fake. I could do an AI video right now and say I'm at the White House and I'm sitting in Beverly Hills, California. So we're in trouble.
Yeah, no, I agree. AI could become very dangerous to those of us who cherish the Constitution, cherish freedom, because if they don't have anything on us, they could make it up.
Well,
easily.
False witness has been back since the beginning. And the thing is that, yes, as we become more technical, we require more technical lies. So the thing is, it's definitely going to keep up with our lies. But people have been abused and wrongfully treated since as long as there's been cities. As long as there's been communities, there's been false witness. So the thing is that this assault on the truth, which is what it is something that every human being has had to face in every generation. And the thing is, some of us cave, and some of us manage to survive it and still keep some of our personal nature alive. So the thing is that the events that you presented, Corrine, okay, to be honest with you, they're so fantastic from my point of view because I've never experienced anything like that. They're way over the top, okay? And the thing is, and I believe you. I want you to know that. So the
I have
thing
the video
is,
footage.
And you are living a Hollywood B movie where the villains, are running amok, and you have to write that book, and you have to make sure that you give it to the right publisher,
and also that you back it up on the cloud or wherever the hell you.
And here's the good news:
hide it.
You told us on our podcast there's only going to be 4 or 5 people that hear this. So we don't have to worry about the truth getting out. AI will not spend any energy sifting through our information to find you. So you're safe for now. Just don't tell this to anybody else.
That's why That's why I'm being so me. This is my real personality because I know that no one's watching this, and eventually it'll be used against
You're
me
not
and or
supposed
any of
to
you guys.
agree. That's so rude.
It's gonna be funny because they're gonna say no one's watching, but I promise you, this will be used against me in the future, which is totally fine with me because I want
Right,
to run for Congress one day. But I'm
right.
just saying, like, I know nobody's watching. If I could just be myself, like, this is me, raw and real, and I think that's the best me. But they will find it. Like, if we only have 5 people watching, trust me, the Antifa groups and the deep state are gonna find this and they're gonna blow it up. So it'll be really funny.
Well, the thing is that they don't have to really, they don't have to work at it um, in order to find enough information to be personally unhappy with you. Okay. What they would have to do is they'd have to doctor the information in such a way as to make more sensible people, more conservative, more citizens to be bamboozled by it, like the way that they did it with Trump, where they said people on both sides are good people, and
Yeah,
they
they
said, "Oh,
edited it
it's
down
talking
out
about
of
the white
context.
supremacists." Okay, no, it wasn't. It was just talking about people that wanted to maintain their heritage, because they see, I was in the Air Force, and I knew plenty of Southerners, and or even though they lost the Civil War, the fact of the matter is that they had family in that war, and that's their roots, and you don't, if you dishonor your roots, then you poison your growth, So, you know, there you go. That's me.
I'm so happy that
How
I
do I
made the
handle my mom? My mom, I need your guidance. My mom has Trump derangement syndrome. I couldn't even spend Christmas with her, and she's here with us. I can't even talk to her. How do I handle my mom who voted for Mondami in New York City? How do I
Carol
handle my own
Lieberman.
mother? She is Trump.
Carol Lieberman, we interviewed. She's actually identified Trump derangement system syndrome.
known as America's psychiatrist.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Here's what works for me. And I'm surrounded by people that are not in agreement with my view. When they talk foolishness, be educated. Go, okay, give it to me. So the thing is that instead of arguing with them, let them present their evidence.
Yeah.
Now, what that did was, I had a close friend that I had at work, and he said Charlie Kirk was a racist. And
Charlie was not racist. Okay.
right,
Yeah.
right. But here's the thing. I've never heard anybody say that, because to me it's the most ludicrous thing you could say about the man. But anyway, Charlie Kirk was a racist, and that's fact. So I said, okay, give me one example. Silence.
And they can't.
So what happened was, he said, I'll send you stuff. He never sent me anything, and I sent him a video of a black man going through 7 things that Charlie Kirk was accused of in regards to racism, and all debunked. And the thing is, like, so, and I was particularly happy that it was a black man, because it's kind of harder to go ahead and say, yeah, well, that guy's like Larry Elder. He's a white supremacist in black clothing. And that is the psychosis we're dealing with. If you're dealing with people that believe that you can will yourself into another sex just by calling yourself him or her, okay?
Or they or them.
Yeah, that's and the and actually calling you by your old name is called death naming or something like that. It's just we're talking about a very damaged people, so you're not going to reason with them. So what I would say is, the best thing is, let them talk themselves into a circle, and dig deeper. Go, oh, I didn't know that. Why would he do that? You know what? And just eventually, what'll happen is the lie. That there was an excellent thing that Zen teaching that I was looking at today, and essentially, no, it was a samurai teaching, and that is, lies injure others. And the only way that you're going to get anything good in this world is to always hold on to the truth. The truth is the only thing that builds permanence. It's the only thing that builds wholesomeness. It's the only thing that promotes life. Lies kill it. So just let them talk until they run out of lies. And what that at the very
I
least
want to read you.
at the very least what it does is they get it out of themselves, and you are not going to be upset, and they'll realize, you know what, maybe I can't talk to this person. Maybe this person is an example. You know, maybe conservatives aren't that bad. You turn the other cheek. You take the beating. That's my suggestion.
You said you wanted to read something?
Okay. Okay, I'm going to read to you guys. So I get a lot of Antifa. This particular person is a professor at American University.
Of course.
And I get a lot of Antifa. Okay, so I'm going to read to you what this person just texted me on Signal. It gives me a massive headache. It's a really big headache. I'll give it to you raw and real. Okay, so basically, good afternoon from the professor. I call him the professor. Okay, he was just in Doha with Don Jr. and a lot of people on our side. I'm not going to show his name because I actually think he's funny. Like, this guy is actually funny. I met him at a charity event like 2 years ago. He helped me actually understand a lot of stuff. But basically, he said, let's see. I want to read you what he just sent to me. He said, okay, he sends me this crazy stuff. Some of the stuff he sends me, he gives me good history because he focuses on the Middle East. But basically he said, so Trump's going to steal another $230 million from US taxpayers. And can he and Johnson, which is Speaker of the House, please stop calling Democrats terrorists and communists? It's going to stop. And someone should tell Laura Loomer that Don Jr., Tom Barrack, and Tucker Carlson and many others are here in Doha at this event. This is back on December 8th. And then he sends me other crazy stuff. He says, Laura Loomer should be arrested. Trump's ambassador to Turkey and envoy to Syria, Tom Barrack, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just get so much crazy information. My whole day is dealing with this. And so Trump is weaponizing government against people he doesn't like. That's not true. Trump is handling situations with people that would try to throw me in prison. If Harris was in power, I wouldn't be in the White House. I'd probably be in a prison or jail for what they're doing to you in the UK. Right now, if you make one tweet against the Muslim mayors in the UK, they can arrest you.
Yeah.
So we can't let that happen in the United States. And we do have the 3%. We have the 5%. We have the 12%. We have the 13%. I believe we have 25% that would do 2A and take up arms and stand up if need be. Tina Peters is sitting, rotting, dying in prison. She's over 70 years old. She's one of my favorite people on planet Earth. She exposed election corruption. She didn't get whistleblower status first. That's a whole nother long story we can get into because I've interviewed her so many times. But the bottom line is that there are people who are willing to break her out of prison. Jake Lang, J6er, is willing to go there January 31st and try to break her out of prison. So we do, which is totally illegal and shouldn't happen. But what I'm saying is that we have the 25%. We have people who are willing to be the 3%, the 5%, the 12%, the 13%. I think we have 20 to 25%. And that's why the liberals need to back down a little bit. But I think we're headed towards,
They're trying to
in
intimidate
a soft
our side,
civil
though.
war.
Using
We're headed towards, I think we're headed towards some very serious times in 2027.
Using a legal institution in a wrong manner is not something that has to be defended. You know, the thing is that if you're using what is considered power that has been established for government or local use, and you're misusing it, we do not have to honor that. We only need to honor that which is right and just. So when and Martin Luther King mentioned this, he said, it was not illegal for the Nazis to crucify all those Jews. They had legal documents. They wrote it down. The law is not inherently ethical. Its ethics is dependent upon the individuals dispensing the law. So the thing is that breaking somebody out of a jail that have been unjustly put there is actually
simply because she told the truth.
Yeah. The thing is that my only concern is somebody who was not responsible for that wrongdoing might end up getting injured in the process. So the thing is like, but at the same, because like if I have security, I'm a bad guy, and somebody comes in and they go to make it even with me, and they shoot my security guy who's just trying to do his job, that's bad on them. So the thing is like, there's a lot of gray area there, but I would say that we do not have to honor and respect legal actions that have been unethically applied. But unfortunately, because so many people are more interested in politics than they are in spiritual truth, they're going to have people arguing legalese instead of natural ethics.
Well, if you follow the left's arguments recently that, you don't have, so you soldiers do not have to follow orders if they are illegal, and you can, the same thing applies. You don't have to abide by laws or rulings that are illegal, that are unconstitutional, that are just plain stupid, being put out there by stupid, corrupt judges who should all be in jail, really. Yeah, especially judges who release people 14, 15 times until they kill somebody. Those judges should be charged as accomplices. I'm sorry, I'm yelling. I get it. I just get worked up about this stuff.
When you start off in the military, most of the people start off there in their teens and maybe very, very early 20s. And I get it.
Very impressionable.
You're an adult. But the fact of the matter is, there is still so much growing to have to do. And to put that kind of pressure on somebody to go, oh, by the way, we're absolutely convinced that Trump is performing wrong, illegal acts. Just letting you know that you can say no to those. It just puts basically people with not a lot of life experience in a situation go, what do I do? And then that, if there is a situation where there is some sort of calamity, that hesitation can kill them. So, and the thing is that you pretty much learn right away, like day one, that there's the Geneva Convention and some other things. And if somebody tells you to go against the Geneva Convention or certain other laws that are in the military, we have a code of military justice, the UCMJ. And if somebody's knowingly breaking those rules, you have the right to deny that order, which also means, unfortunately, reality. Let's have a reality check. We're not in Disneyland, thank God. So the thing is that when you choose to stand up for what's right, this is what Todd told us. Honor is not about integrity. It's about doing the right thing, regardless of whether or not it harms you. That's honor. So those people who stand up for honor's sake, they should be applauded, and sometimes they get it wrong, but at least their heart was in the right place. I don't think you can ever be ultimately wrong if your heart is in the right place. You may have made the wrong choice, but you made it for the right reason.
Yeah, but then you enter the realm of, well, if Hitler really believed that the Jews were that bad, then he was justified.
Oh,
You
is
know.
that your view?
No, that's what you're putting forth. I'm happy that I turned down an invitation. Sorry, I turned down an invitation
I want to
to
ask
go
you
to the
your
January 6th thing.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise, I'm sure I'd be in jail.
I was going to go too.
Oh, you too? Wow.
I did go to the Stop the Steal in Harrisburg.
I would have helped you both stay out of jail. Most of the J6ers that I gave the most publicity to stayed out of jail, and they didn't take plea deals and bear false testimony against themselves. And the one that I gave the most publicity to, my footage was used against him in the court of law, which really showed I was a real journalist. I couldn't film in the court of law, which pissed me off, but I forget her name, this judge. She's a black judge. She's actually pretty fair. I got to remember her name. She said there's a journalist covering this case, so I better be really careful that I make the right choices. He only got 19 days in federal prison. So it's really important that you don't talk about the specifics of your case, but if you do get arrested, you need to show people your real personality, and the judges are the key. Judges don't want bad publicity. I just got a gentleman out of a mental institution in Connecticut because Connecticut has turned communist. I just got him out by exposing the corrupt judges. I know how to do it and hashtag it and say it. In the case of Tina Peters, if you guys never interviewed her, she's the sweetest woman on planet Earth, and she didn't get whistleblower status, which she should have before she exposed what she exposed. She got set up, and I'm not going to say by who right now, but the bottom line is that her judge was Matthew Barrett, and he is sitting in Colorado. And he was saying in her sentencing, it's like a 6-7 minute sentencing. He only gave her 1.5 days for her witnesses. I had to convince one of her witnesses to testify for her. People were turning on her so hard. He said the craziest stuff in her sentencing. He didn't let her, she's 70. He didn't let her get her stuff together and prepare to go to prison. He took her from the courtroom the second the jury gave her the guilty verdict because the judge did not allow her proper evidence into the case. The second the jury convicted her, he threw her in prison for 9 years. She is a nonviolent 70-year-old woman. She's a Gold Star mom. Her son is passed away. Why would a judge give her 9 years? That is lawfare, and it needs to stop in the United States of America.
Lawfare against the rest of us. Yeah, they don't want us following her lead. They want to intimidate us into silence.
It might also be personal. It might be a power thing that he does the absolute worst to prove that he can.
Or he got paid.
Is you have these people. Most of the conflicts that you have are with people with massive egos that have no consideration for anything outside of themselves. They're very self-centered, very
paid or blackmailed. They get paid or blackmailed.
Okay.
That's really hard for people to understand. It took me, I didn't get it until this year. It took me, 21, 22, 23, it took me 4 years to understand that a lot of people are blackmailed and they're embarrassed. So when I go against a judge, they usually back down.
Yeah, I'm convinced.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know the specifics of that case.
Sorry?
Yeah, so that's really important. I don't know the specifics of that case, but a lot of people are blackmailed. And this is one thing I really want you guys to delve into, the grand jury issues. So somehow in our Constitution, there were grand juries and they're not being respected. The people in the counties are allowed to use their sheriff. They're allowed to use a grand jury. The state of Connecticut got rid of counties. Counties are powerful. In your county, you're allowed to have a people's grand jury. And I think that's what will really save America in a nonviolent, peaceful manner. If things don't turn violent, I think things may turn violent by 2027. I pray they don't. But we need to go back to the grand juries where you can assemble a grand jury of your peers to decide what happens to you. Grand juries are very important. So you guys should interview as many people as possible about that issue of the grand juries.
Well, Barry Todd, that was one of his main problems. They kept throwing new grand juries after him over and over again, regardless of the results. And that actually And the other problem is that there was a lot of politics involved. I believe with the defender, the public defender. So they had to make him guilty. That seems to be his job. So
It's got to be grand jury of your peers. It can't be deep state grand jury.
well, I don't think this was so much a political thing. This happened in Arizona. So I don't know what the situation is over there, but
I don't know who this. Who are you talking? Who are you talking about?
Barry Todd.
Okay, who's Barry Todd?
Barry Todd was a retired captain in the Air Force Rangers that defended his wife and himself, and was sent to jail.
I'll send you a link later
What year?
I'll send you a link to our
What
interview
year?
with him.
We don't have all the particulars in front of us.
I can
What
send
year
you a
was he
link to
sent
the
to
interview
jail?
we did with him. Okay, Corrine?
Oh.
All right, I'll send
Yeah.
it
Because
from
if
our
we're going
website.
to talk about those specifics, I need the specifics of the case.
Right. Well,
I can't comment on cases. Heels on the ground journalism that I research myself. I don't.
We might be able to actually
That's why it's
contact him and
me, because I don't sit in a studio, I do boots on the ground, heels on the ground. My whole day is getting the story.
right.
All right, I'll try and get you a summary of what happened to him. Okay.
Right, and not to mention
also-
maybe try to put the two of them together. Maybe you can speak to
if we could.
I would love to help him. That's what I do. I help people who've been arrested by their
he's already
government. That's my specialty.
He's already gotten through it,
Yeah,
so
it took him
he's
3
free and
years.
everything. But it might be interesting to be able to speak to him, and I think that if we reach out to him, he would definitely like to talk to you.
They tried to lawfare him into
So he's
bankruptcy.
not in prison.
No. They tried to
But is he
lawfare
in prison right now?
He almost went
Okay.
bankrupt.
Okay.
He almost went bankrupt.
In
But
fact-
No, but I only focus on people. I focus on breaking news and people who are actually in prison or jail
In prison,
or in
okay.
litigation. So
Well,
that's yeah.
he's free.
Yeah.
He got
So
through it.
now,
Yeah.
right
We
now,
had a
we have
guest.
some key people in prison. We've got 12 case officers that need to be pardoned. They've only been commuted, like Stuart Rhodes, the Oath Keepers of Proud Boys. There's 12 of them. They need to be pardoned. So I focus on stuff like that. And then we've got Shane Lamont. Shane Lamont is currently in prison. It's very important to write him letters and to help him get through this, put money on his commissary. He is the Capitol Police officer that tipped off Enrique Tarrio that he was going to get arrested, and he got thrown in prison just this year. And then we have Dr. Robert O. Young, who is the founder of the Alkaline Diet. He's in prison in San Diego. And so we still do have political prisoners in the United States of America at this time in history.
With the Jan 6 thing, there was first there was that Capitol policeman who supposedly died of a heart attack the next day. And then there was a number of other Capitol Police who supposedly committed suicide. That leads me to believe that those people were assassinated because they were going to come forward about something. Because it's it's like quite a few. I think there was 3 that committed suicide, plus a guy who supposedly had a heart attack. That when I saw a picture of him, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but he looked okay. He was doing his job. And all of a sudden he gets a heart attack, and all blamed upon the emotional conundrum created by the assault of the American people upon our capital. So the thing is that that freaks me out because I have no evidence of it. It just seems like, like there's a saying that if there's enough coincidence, it's no longer coincidence. And so. That has always bothered me, and I bring it up now and then. So,
talking about the deep state earlier, back on September 25th, we interviewed a fellow named Dennis Brennan. He's written a book about how the deep state in Jefferson's time went after what's his name? Aaron Burr. And Aaron Burr was wealthy. His father actually founded Princeton University. Okay, so he had money. But they bankrupted Burr. They went after him. They did to him what they were trying to do to Trump. So there are parallels between the two. and the deep state went after him, lied about it. We have all bad information that we've been given through the history books about Burr, and this guy dug through and found out that no, Burr was actually innocent of those charges. He like trying to what was it, form his own country and so on and so forth. He did consider that apparently, but he never really tried to do that. He never betrayed the United States as he was accused of doing. And
Right.
you see what they're doing to Trump. They were doing that to him, and they finally bankrupted him.
I also understand that they smeared Richard Nixon, that a lot of the things that he was supposedly held responsible for, he didn't actually do, that it was all a facade. So
I voted for Nixon. He was the first president I was ever able to vote for. But the one thing I have against Nixon is he took us off the gold standard. And I think that's a deep state thing.
Why did he do that? Why
exactly.
Did he do that?
Exactly. That's what I have against him. Not the Watergate thing. If I were Nixon, I used to say it in those days. They said they wanted the tapes released and so on and so forth. I would have come on and said, well, in the interest of national security, I'm here to announce that the tapes have been destroyed. That would have been it.
Well, the conversation would have lasted forever, but yeah, you're right. That would have been.
No matter. He wouldn't have been impeached for whatever he said or didn't say on the tapes. There would have been no 18 minutes or whatever.
So there have been, we have a long history of dirty dealings. And it's the thing is that when we look at Trump, okay, anybody who is pro-Trump has to see him as something as being miraculous. He is an extraordinary man. He came around at the right time, because another like a Kamala Harris run would have crippled us. What I don't understand is how does the Democratic Party miss the idea that Kamala Harris was assigned, not voted for, to run
members of the Democrat Party, not the leaders. The leaders are all communists. They assigned her. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so the Democrats don't seem to believe in democracy.
No, they did that to Hillary. They took it away from Hillary and gave it to Obama.
Well, you know what? What the hell's his name? Benny Sanders, right?
Sanders, same thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
By the way, I interviewed him. He can barely talk. I don't know how Bernie Sanders is so beloved. He could barely talk.
Well,
he can barely talk. I don't know why people like him.
I lost every bit of respect for him when he just rolled over and she stole that election from him in California.
Yeah, so he was told, look, either shut up about it or...
Well, Corrine, is it... are you stretching?
I have 10 minutes. What do you guys want to talk about?
Oh.
I have 10 minutes. What do you guys want to talk about?
What was it I was going to talk about?
Okay. How did you spend your Christmas?
I love your wisdom. I love your wisdom and your knowledge and your history. I think it's amazing. And I think the next generation needs to listen to you. But I also understand the shadow banning and everything that's happening. And I think the next generation, these 22-year-olds, they think they know everything and they don't listen to the older generation. So that's why I like to hear what you have to say. And I think it's really interesting.
They don't listen for more than 2 minutes.
10 minutes. What's the hot
Gen Z.
What do you care about?
Gen Z supposedly is breaking all the rules in that there are more people going to church that are now very young. And they're becoming more conservative. And the reason is because they've seen what runaway liberalism can do. And I know you don't like using that term liberal, so that's why I added runaway liberalism. The problem is being tolerant of everything is intolerable. And so that's the problem with the left.
Okay. I think we have a deeper message here, okay? It's very simple. We need to go back to the morals and values and ethics that the United States of America was founded on. Our founding fathers were a group of men, potentially over like 55 men, maybe some more. But I'm just saying they all fought with each other. But in the end, they respectfully agreed to disagree, and they got along and they built the greatest nation in history. We have to keep the American dream alive. And so I want the next generation, and I tell my own daughter this, who is a Beverly Hills girl. She wears pink, 5-inch heels. I told her, we need to buy land. We need to go back to farming. We need to have our own water source.
Yeah.
We need to have a food supply. We need you to have 12 children. I need to have 5. You need to have 6, I don't know, 7. I tell her, don't use birth control. I say to the next generation, have as many children as possible. We need to manufacture in America. President Trump wants manufacturing in America. If we go into World War III, we have no shoe manufacturers. We can't even get pharmaceuticals. I lose my voice all the time. I can't even get pharmaceuticals, legal pharmaceuticals in Washington, D.C. or Virginia, because we don't have pharmaceutical company manufacturing in America. We need to make America great again. We need to go back to farming, and we need to go back to the basics.
If you have problems with your throat, go to the health food store and get licorice root and chew on that.
Okay.
And it actually,
okay.
Are you okay with the licorice root?
You want me to chew on licorice or licorice root?
Licorice root.
Yeah, licorice.
Yeah, it actually looks like a stick. When you the first time
I want to use.
Make sure it's real licorice.
It's so cold in Washington, D.C. I did a Alex Jones show for I did War Room, I did InfoWars for 30 minutes. I couldn't even talk. My nose was running. I lost my voice for 10 days. I have to keep my voice together. Right. It's so important. So it gets so cold in DC. I hope licorice root works, but I like to use steroids. I believe in pharmaceutical medication that's good for you. And so there's no medication in DC. It's ridiculous. There's no medication in Virginia. It's never ending. How do I get antibiotics? It's almost impossible to get anything there. We need manufacturing in America. We need the next generation to have farms. We need them to have 12 children. Actually, we need to go back to America.
We need to step away from pharmaceuticals and start teaching people how to be
natural healing.
Yeah, natural healing. I don't take any.
Find yourself a book on natural healing through herbs and so forth.
I just interviewed Kevin Trudeau, who wrote the first book on natural healing. He spent 8 years in federal prison because of it for contempt of court. I interview everybody. Wow. I personally like pharmaceuticals. That's my decision, but I'm saying I want them manufactured in America. I want real, pure pharmaceuticals. I daughter in Aspen, Colorado, and they knew how to make antibiotics themselves. They knew how to make it themselves. We need real, pure stuff, obviously based on healthy stuff, but I do like pharmaceuticals. Don't trust hospitals.
The opera singers have a concoction and an aerator. I think it was honey and a few other things and water. And I don't know what the concoction is, but they used to use that so this way they could sing all night long. So maybe if you can find out what that concoction is, it'll help you.
You know what? My best friend is a retired pharmacist. When he first became a pharmacist, he had to learn how to do things, how to make medications himself using this thing, a pistol. Pistol, I think they call it.
Water and pistol.
Yeah, and he used to make things on his own. My younger granddaughter, when she was an infant, had some problems, digestive problems, and we had to go get her medication at a certain pharmacy, which was kind of far away, 40 minutes away, because they made the medication themselves. They made that medication. It wasn't available anywhere else, and they were the only ones who could make it. And it's ridiculous that is taught, or we used to be taught in pharmacy schools. Now all they teach you is how to count pills. That's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, the one major change that I see coming with Gen X, I hope, or Gen Z rather, is that maybe we'll get back to the two sides. When you disagree, you talk it out. And when you're finished talking, you say, look, that's enough for today. Let's go have a beer. Well, let's sit down and have dinner or whatever. Instead of saying, oh, I never want to see you again. Ah, you're crazy. No. Okay. My my two sons are my one son is more like me, and my oldest son is he got brainwashed by the left in college. Okay, and it was because of a certain professor who I know was a Marxist, and we disagree on a lot of things. He hates Donald Trump, but he can never tell me exactly what bad things Trump has done. Okay, we argue and everything, but we still talk. I don't, we still hug each other and everything. And we're Portuguese, so it's a hug and a kiss. Okay, so
when
and there's still the I love you, even when we're angry.
When Trump when before Trump became political, and I was much younger,
adored.
I disliked Trump just because of his presentation. I thought he was boisterous. I thought he was a braggart. I thought he was an egocentric. And the fact of the matter is, I still think he's that, but I think he's justified.
Another thing about Trump that gives him this attitude that anything is possible. Do you know who his preacher was when he grew up?
Oh my God!
Every Sunday. No, I'm not asking you. I'm asking Corrine. Every Sunday, he used to go from. He and his family came from Queens to go to Manhattan to listen to Norman Vincent Peale.
Oh,
he's the guy who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. This is why nothing is impossible to Trump. This is why he will try anything. This is why he's coming up with solutions that nobody else thinks of.
Well, there was a second book that was followed, and it was written by.
There are more than two.
There was a second book that was followed, and it was written by Lou Reed, called the book "The Power of Positive Drinking." That's a song he wrote.
Yeah, right.
Respond to that. I don't have any humor anymore in me, and I don't understand that.
Okay,
but
so
the bottom line is, okay, so what do you guys talk about? Because I have to go soon. What do you guys want to talk about?
Okay, just real quick, the Palisades fire. I read something a couple of days ago where a guy said he went over there during the fire to try and find out what was happening to his house. He saw it was burned down, and he saw a group of firemen standing across the street from where the fire was raging, and they weren't doing anything. He said, "Why aren't you guys over there doing so?" He said, "We were ordered to stand down." This fire. Did you encounter anything like that? Oh, that's something maybe you could track as a journalist. The firemen told this guy, "We were told to stand down." LA firemen.
I was in the Palisades fire in January of this last year. Wow. And we had 3 family houses burn in Pacific Palisades. We had 1 burn in Malibu, and we had 45 minutes to evacuate. It was the most bizarre situation because no one told us what was going on, and we saw all the smoke, and we had no idea what was happening. And I really respect Spencer Pratt, who's married to Heidi Montag, because I have so much to say on the topic. I used my press passes day 2 to get into the fire zone. The fire didn't burn just one day, it burned 4 days. So where were the fire trucks? Where were the police officers? Where was the water? What is going on there?
Well, the water, we know that
no one's going to admit anything.
Go ahead.
No one's going to admit anything to me specifically because I never delved into it because I'm overwhelmed with news every day and I do breaking news. But when I get really deep into investigation, the lawsuits that are about to happen are so serious because it was definite fraud and negligence, and it could have been stopped. The fire wasn't just a 1-day fire, it was a 4-day fire. And so now, I just want to read what Spencer Pratt is writing today because Gavin Newsom should be thrown in prison for what happened. Yes. He said the IRS has now confirmed Gavin Newsom is running what looks like a straight up criminal operation. Spencer Pratt actually sat down with IRS criminal investigators after discovering that $800 million raised through fire aid, which is very near and dear to my heart because my daughter's family's foundation is the Annenberg Foundation, which I never admit in public, but it is not being run properly. The employees have run amok because Wallace Annenberg just died in July. The fire aid, they were giving money to Hunter Biden's nonprofit. They were giving money to Gavin Newsom's nonprofit. The money didn't even go to help the people in the Palisades and or Malibu. So basically, this is going to get really interesting because Gavin Newsom's Section 8 pipeline stayed fully funded through all this. So I really like people to watch Spencer Pratt because there's a lot of things, because it's so personal to me that my daughter won't let me talk about. But the bottom line is that that fire was so destructive. And why did it happen? Because they want to build low income housing, because Gavin Newsom's giving the contracts for the low income housing to his friends and supporters. And then it's only low income housing for 25 years. And then it turns into high income housing. But the truth of that is that Gavin Newsom's going to try to run for president. So I don't understand why we are not arresting Gavin Newsom. And the person on the front line of this is Spencer Pratt. So he can't be Republican or Democrat because his wife is a pop star, but he's doing the best job of exposing the fraud that I can't even expose because it's too close to my family, to my daughter's family. But I will do everything in my power to get all of the Annenberg Foundation employees not arrested, but fired, because what they did with the fire aid is so unethical and disgusting that people didn't even get help from the fire aid money. And so the Palisades looks like a war zone. And that's why positive thinking is important. But what you think is not what you create. Pacific Palisades is where I grew up. Never in my life did I ever think it would look like a nuclear war hit it. That's what I'm going to spend in my next 10 days in Los Angeles focusing on, is what it looks like now. It still looks like a war zone. And I was in the fire day 2. We have Teslas. My Tesla turned off. I got stuck in front of one of our houses that burned to the ground. It wasn't even burning. It was just simmering. There were no fire people anywhere to help us. There was no water. There was no people helping us with food or water or anything. There was nothing. I had to call. I had my satellite phone from Sat 123. I had to call 911. I had to call our emergency specialist. As a journalist, to have an emergency specialist, I had to call him to help me. My nose was bloody. All of the toxins from your house that burn go into your system. They go into the soil. They destroy the water, the soil for lifetimes. They destroy the air. No one's talking about it. No one's trying to heal it yet. There are mushrooms you can plant to heal the soil. There are very specific things that can be done. President Trump is not blocking anything. It is Karen Bass, and the LA City Council is evil. The LA City Council is the reason I left LA in January 2021, because they voted unanimously to make the COVID-19 mandates a law. So I couldn't have a job. I couldn't go into a restaurant unless I'd been vaccinated, and I'm not going to use fake paperwork. So I said, you know what? I'm going to move to Washington, D.C. and found my own news company. Most of my footage gets banned, destroyed. I have it on phones throughout the years, but I've been in D.C. since 2021, and I know how corrupt it is that 98% of Congress and these people in D.C., the bureaucrats, are bought, sold, and paid for, and or they are blackmailed. And so the fires in the Palisades, in Pasadena, in Malibu shouldn't have happened.
Well, first
and the lawsuits are going to be.
The fires were initially started by an individual who dug a hole and basically created a fire pit, and then that's how it started. So it was man-made. So the other thing is that there are devices that allow firefighters to use the water from sunken pools and stuff to fight fires, especially if there's a problem with accessing water. Well, the fire department didn't have any of those things. And last time I checked, California is the most taxed state in the union. So I don't know what happened there. And then on top of that, during the heat, the top of the peak of fire season, the lovely mayor was in Africa doing some kumbaya moments. So this essentially, by the time she got back, it was already out of control. And to be honest with you,
Gavin Newsom was here the whole entire time. and he watched everything burn to the ground. He was here, boots on the ground, heels on the ground. I was here. We have an ocean that's massive. Why didn't they take water from the ocean? In Malibu, my friend's house is burned right on the ocean. They were so desperate that they were peeing into their wives' purses and throwing it on their houses for 3 days at a time. I know one family that saved their house in Malibu, but why didn't we get water from the ocean? It doesn't make any sense. And after the fire, a week after the fire, I went to Malibu, and it wasn't in the Palisades, it was just in Malibu. Nothing blue burned. The blue tile didn't burn in Malibu.
What
That's
is
all
this
I'm going to
about the
say.
blue thing? The same thing happened in Hawaii. The houses that had blue roofs or blue doors or whatever were untouched. Meanwhile, everything else around them was gone. What is it about the blue? Is it Is it like in the Bible where you put the lamb's blood on the
Door.
doorsill so that the angel of death will pass by you in Egypt? What is that?
I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I have the footage. I took the footage myself. Blue tile, anything blue didn't burn. Blue glass didn't burn. So in
Yeah.
Malibu, it's way deeper. The Palisades, I'm going to blame it on an alleged Uber driver who dropped somebody off and put their cigarette out on the hiking trail. But honestly, I don't know the truth. And that's why in California, I'm staying here for the next couple weeks to make sure that we get a mayor to run who is fair. Alex Villanova is running in Los Angeles for sheriff. He's one of the greatest men to be the sheriff of Los Angeles. And then my girlfriend Elaine Kolodny is going to run for governor, and she needs to win because she's not Republican or Democrat. She's independent. I don't like Rick Caruso anymore because Rick Caruso knew he's a billionaire. He ran for mayor a couple of years ago. I liked him. I used to love him. I used to really appreciate him. But he knew this was going to happen. He didn't even save his daughter's house. He only saved his shopping mall, which is one of the most expensive shopping malls in America. A drink there is $30. I don't know why he'd save his shopping mall when the bottom line is that the houses around him all burned to the ground. Why didn't he tell us and alert us and say, get private firefighters? Why didn't Rick Caruso, who's a billionaire, pay for the private firefighters or the water to save the houses? So I don't want him to win anything ever. So there's a lot going on in California. California is the 4th largest economy in the whole entire world. So I want to try to save California.
What do you think about Cheyenne running for governor?
I like him as you know what? I don't even know if I like him as a pastor. I went to him when I had hundreds of J6ers in prisons and jails, and he did nothing to help. I was introduced to him by a pastor. I don't even know if I should say this, but I'm not going to say it. I was introduced to him at Charlie Kirk's pastors conference, and Cheyenne knew. He knew very clearly that I needed help handling the J6 catastrophe, and he never came up to me and said, hey, Corrine, this is my number. I'll pray with you. So I know the real pastors. I know the fake pastors. I'm not helping him run for governor. God bless him, peace. I don't need him to put a curse on me, but there are real pastors who called me on the phone and said, Corrine, we will help the J6ers and the pro-life activists who are in prisons and jails. Will help the people around President Trump who got arrested. Cheyenne is not one of them. So he has no chance to win for governor. Maybe he's a great pastor. I don't know. But I met him face to face, and he never said, hey, Corrine, I will help you on your team of pastors to handle all the people who were arrested under the Biden regime. And so I don't really respect him for that, although I heard he's a great pastor. Not really sure.
Who is your friend, Elaine what, that's running for governor? What's her last name? What's your friend's last name?
We cannot allow Kolodny. We cannot allow Chad Bianco to win. It's Elaine Kolodny, Cuttoi. She is not Republican. She's not Democrat. She's not even married. She's divorced, and she is very wealthy on her own. We need a business woman, a business person to run California. She will make committees to solve all the problems. She's friends with all the big billionaires, and she hasn't announced yet. She's hopefully going to announce any day now. She needs to win because we really need to clean up California. If we have any more career politicians, California is going to turn communist. We are on the verge of turning communist in California.
Yeah, I agree with you about Chad Bianco. He's he's a bad egg. He's a rotten egg.
He's a bad egg.
Yeah.
And now we have Mondami, which I think is so funny. I want to get the press pass to cover Mondami. I think it's going to be hilarious to see what he actually does in New York City. I'm just dying laughing about this whole situation. I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I hope Mondami is really radical to teach New Yorkers a lesson, but I know that the elections in New York are corrupted, just like they're corrupted in Los Angeles.
That's right.
They change out the ballots. They change out the ballots.
Staten Island may actually leave New York City.
See.
Yep. I hope so.
AOC, I remember last time she ran, I saw people being interviewed in the district. They were all unhappy. And she was running against a black female veteran. And everybody thought that the veteran was going to beat AOC. AOC comes out on top again. Don't tell me New York politics is not rife with election fraud. So,
yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff out there. Fortunately, there's a lot of good people that are waking up. So,
thank you for your work. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for coming on the show.
Excellent.
And we really appreciate it. Hope to have you again in the future.
You know
sometime.
that.
What?
You're wonderful.
Yes, and no, I'm not going to get any views. But trust me, everybody's watching. Even if we don't get the views, it's no big deal. Don't worry about views. I don't want to live based on views.
We've been getting views. 2 months ago, we had 30 people. What? No, 30 months ago, we had
when I get like 5 million views.
Oh, 5 million views. I wish.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
Yeah, but
when I get 5 million views, the death threats are out of control. So I really don't care about views. We're getting this information into the ethers, and we're all interconnected because I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. And so just getting it out into the ethers, everyone's going to start getting it. That matters. We only need to wake up 30% of the population, the 3%ers that are willing to fight, the 13%ers that are willing to fund the fight, and the 30% that are willing to stand up for us when we win the fight.
Right. Yeah.
Well, hey, let's get to it.
Okay. Yes.
God bless you.
Thank you very much. Keep up the good work, and good luck with whatever you do. And I hope that your client that you've been trying to help out.
You guys are going to pray for me. I need you guys to pray for me. I encounter evil every day, and they're trying to get my press passes taken away from me. These Antifa groups write false information about me all the time. And go to SAT123 and make sure on SAT123, SAT123.com, that you have a bulletproof backpack, that you have a bulletproof computer case, because shots can get fired at any time. I take my bulletproof gear in and out of the White House every day. Even the Secret Service wants to know what my bulletproof gear is. And then you need a satellite phone if you're on a boat or a camping trip, or if you're traveling around the world. Only 10% of the world has cell phone towers. And then you have to have Starlink with customer service, and SAT123 has the best customer service in the world. So it's SAT123.com, and I will personally guarantee I will pay you back if you don't use the products that you buy from SAT123. I promise you in the next 1 to 3 years, you're going to use them all, including the Faraday bags. When we had to evacuate the Palisades fires, I used all the Faraday bags. I use the satellite phone. I use the solar powered generators. You need to have emergency gear. So everybody needs to go to SAT123.com right now and buy what they can afford.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, we'll plug that at the end of the at the bottom of the interview too.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you very much again. This has been another episode of The View from Here, from Behind Enemy Lines. We were speaking to someone else who's behind enemy lines all the time, whether in California or Washington, D.C.
Yep.
Corrine Clifford, a real independent journalist, real journalist, let's put it that way.
Yep.
So
real deal.
We hope you like this. Please share the episode, and give us a rating, please. Give us 5 stars. If you can't give us 5 stars, give us 4. Okay, have a good night. Corrine, thank you very much again. All right, I'm going to stop this, but